Hello there. What is going on, everybody? Are there some big gaping holes in Battle Forces and the way Battle Forces have been handled in Star Wars Legion? We're going to ask that question today and talk about some big missed opportunities that I feel AMG could address and possibly will address in the near future as we move closer to September and mini extravaganza, and hopefully we'll get some more things announced, and hopefully we'll see some stuff that can work with these older and newer battle forces. So I want to talk about that in today's video. I feel like battle forces were a really cool thing that they've been going in a pretty cool direction with having more and more of them lately. Although the later battle forces that we've been getting don't all seem to require anything new. So it's like a lot of new ways to use your old stuff, which is cool. But I think one of the missed opportunities is the ways to get things new and some new potential units that we might see in these games. If you guys haven't already, I want to thank today's sponsor, Luxury Playstyle. Amazing full metal tokens. Head over to luxuryplaystyle.com and check out these awesome tokens for Legion. They are absolutely gorgeous, and you should definitely check them out. There's a line completely compatible with Star Wars Legion double-sided full metal tokens. If you use code Crabbok VIP, you're going to save 15%, and while supplies last, you'll get a free Crabbok token with lightsaber nunchucks, folks. It is awesome. All right, so I want to talk about the first missed opportunity. I'm talking about Blizzard Force, right? Going back to the first couple of battle forces we got, they used some of these units, and there was holes and openings for additional units to be added. Where's the probe droids at? You've got a battle force already. You can make probe droids normally, but you can make them also work in Blizzard Force. It'd be a great expansion that would spice up regular Imperial list. It would also spice up Blizzard Force too. It's super thematic. It's super on point. You already have self-destruct. You already have droid rules. I mean, this is a unit that practically writes itself. All you have to do is just figure out what points cost it should be and throw it in there. Absolutely an amazing opportunity, and it's kind of a shame we don't have probe droids just yet. It's just got me thinking, like, what's going on here? I feel like AMG especially would have a complete blast trying to sculpt this thing, and it's all of its little proby arms and stuff like that, and they could have it kind of like flying over rocks and stuff, and just have it kind of hovering and maybe dragging an arm that's actually used as the support, and like there's so many really cool ways that they could do this. I'm really surprised that we haven't seen it yet. Maybe we'll see it someday. Who knows? Next up, speaking of the Battle of Hoth, let's talk about General Reich. Look, the rebels need him for Echo Base, and also he'd just be a good rebel commander as a whole. I don't think you have to limit him to only Echo Base. I mean, I think you can make him a general, a general in general that the general people would generally like. I don't know, but no, definitely. I think General Reich deserves to show up in this game. There's not that many generals there's not that many, I would say, like background generals that get a whole lot of face time in Star Wars, and he had more speaking lines than is typical, and I feel like he definitely deserves a little more, than he's been given, and the thing is, hopefully we see that with more, like Maydeen eventually and things like that, but definitely General Reich. It definitely deserves a spot. Let's talk about Imperial Remnant. All right, Mandalorian folks have seen the Incinerator Trooper. Dude, this guy was awesome, and I think he definitely needs to show up. He could be Empire as a whole, or he could be restricted to Imperial Remnant, but I feel like he could be Empire, like in general. But yeah, no, I definitely could see him being like a standalone stormtrooper. It'd be a really cool opportunity to do that, or maybe you make a whole squad out of it, or maybe you just make him a special heavy, I don't know, but I just see him being like maybe a standalone special forces, or maybe even an operative, maybe even just an Imperial operative who he's just like a really special, dude who a stormtrooper who's earned the right to kind of not have to be surrounded by his peers. or maybe a stormtrooper who's just so annoying, and maybe he doesn't shower, and so his peers, like the rest of his squad, bailed on him, and that's his story, and that's why he's an operative as opposed to being a team. I don't know, but I think it would be pretty cool. So that's my thoughts for the Stormtrooper, or the Incinerator Stormtrooper. One of the more recent battle forces we got, Bright Tree Village. We don't have Chief Chirpa. It's a weird thing, and while they're not a battle force, I'm going to draw some parallels between this and the Wookiees. You know, like they give us a lot of the people adjacent to the leader, but we don't have Tarful from from the Wookiees, and we don't have Chief Chirpa from the Ewoks. And so I get that maybe they wanted to leave room for future expansion. I mean, and not just him too, but like also like your little flying gliders too. Like, where's the gliders, right? Where's all this? There's a lot of room for additional stuff to show up, and if they don't start doing some of these extra things to kind of fill in some of the kind of weaker spots in battle forces, I feel like it's going to make battle forces look very, very, very one-dimensional. And I think it wouldn't. I don't think it would even take a whole lot. Take one or two units to give every battle force a ton of depth, and and that's. I think it's something that the Bright Tree Village, I think, is like the weakest battle force, or at least in my opinion, just just least interesting battle force in the game right now. I think they have one thing that they do well, and that's like stealing heavy weapon upgrades. And outside of that, I think they're, I don't know, just kind of boring to me is a way I would put it. And I'd love to see them become more interesting. And you left out the leader, like the chief. He's the chief, right? I don't know. Maybe in Ewokese, chief means like 17th in command. I don't know, but. Yeah, that's a thought. Let's go. Let's talk about the Droid Invasion. Where's Newt Gunray? Right, Droid Invasion was weird. I feel like Droid Invasion went through a couple of different kind of. It must have gone through some different phases of like, well, should we include this or should we include that? Because it had to have probably been difficult to try to come up with like a sub-faction for the Separatists that represents droids, when the Separatists are pretty much droids anyway. So we're like, all right, we're going to take a sub-faction that only uses 90% of the units, right? So this Droid Invasion was kind of more along the lines of what was at the Battle of Naboo, and he was in charge at the Battle of Naboo. So first off, Newt Gunray was like one of the first Separatists we ever see, or at least one of the first characters that we ever see that becomes a Separatist. So he's like a super important character. And second off, you could give him a lot of really cool, like maybe he has entourage droidicas or something like that, which would be really cool. Like, I think droidicas would really benefit from some kind of entourage ability or some kind of direct, for droidicas or something like that. I just feel like that would be really cool, and it would work well with him. It'd be thematic and could give droidicas, which is like it's a unit I really like, but they really suffer. And they would really benefit from a Newt Gunray, I feel like. So it would work thematically and mechanically. And it'd also be cool to have more Separatist leaders that aren't good fighters. So many of your Separatist leaders are great fighters. And I also don't want to have to run the Separatist invasion with General Grievous and stuff like that. So, it's just, I think Newt Gunray would be really cool. If I want to do the Battle of Naboo with the Separatist invasion, I don't want, I want it to be a little more accurate, and I think Newt Gunray would be good for that. Even though he was in a different part of the battle, there were still droids. He was still, giving orders for that battle. He was just in a different section of it. So I still think it works, right? If you can have Palpatine on the battlefield, you can have Newt Gunray on the battlefield. That's my thought. And like for 501st, this one's going to be kind of cheating a little bit, but come on, Padawan Ahsoka. Long overdue, right? Long overdue Padawan Ahsoka Tano for the Republic. A lot of Legion players were very displeased that the Rebels get Ahsoka before the Republic does. And I mean, this is just something that has to happen, right? And of course, she would be a Galactic Republic, but also could work in 501st. It would make total sense. and I love to see it. I mean, there's other folks too, but there's other named clones and all kinds of interesting things like that. But I feel like Ahsoka Tano should be first on the list. Probably for out of all of this, she should. I actually expect that we'll see a preview of Padawan Ahsoka Tano at Mini Stravaganza. That's going to be, and we'll do more. We're going to talk more about Mini Stravaganza in the near future as it gets closer to September. We'll have a lot of speculation videos and as to what they're going to be talking about with all of that, and hopefully it will be a super fun time. So yeah, that's gonna do it for my Battle Forces plug in those holes, those missed opportunities video. I think it's a fun one to talk about, and what should they add? Like, again, are they just gonna keep adding new things for new Battle Forces, or are they going to actually fill out some of the existing Battle Forces at some point? I think it could be fun to add, and maybe they don't even have to be hyper competitive options. I know some Battle Forces are strong as is, and but still, I think it's just a fun thing to do, and especially when it's already thematic, like probe droids, and Ahsoka should be in the game, and don't let the fact that a battle force could use them shouldn't be an excuse to not put them in the game. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are awesome and help make this whole channel possible. So thank you for your continued support. May the Force be with you. Always keep on dancing. Never put footprints on the ceiling unless someone asks you nicely.